Welcome back. My name's Chris Gosselin from Australian Fund Monitors. Today we're talking to Ben Harrison from Altor Capital Management. We've spoken to Ben before about his Altor Alt-Fi fund, but today we want to talk about the business of sport. Ben, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
My pleasure. The business of sport, until I went to a function you held last year, I didn't really understand or recognise how mammoth the business of sport is. And we were asked then to say who's watched sport recently. Everyone put their hands up and said, oh, I've watched this, I've watched the footy, or I've watched the racing, all the rest of it. And then when you think about the sheer size of sport as an industry globally, let alone just in Australia, it is huge. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so you're right. I think that there's definitely been an education process that we've been taking our clients on over the last 12 months around the opportunity of participating in the business of sport. So I think like any business that we're investing in, there's attributes that we like, but the product is ultimately the product of a basketball team or a racing team or a football team. So we see, parallels with the same businesses that we're investing in that might be selling different products and services, but it's no different to the products and services they're selling under a team concept. So we're looking for, strong management teams. We're looking for key revenue drivers that we can actually help get involved and bring those opportunities to life. And businesses in a great macro. So you talked about that macro setting. That is, there's a massive following behind sports. There's a huge amount of eyeballs that are being shone on sport. So we think that there's a big tailwind behind the sports industry.
The dollars involved, just last week, I think there was something about the Boston Celtics in the US, $6 billion.
Yes, US.
US dollars, so yeah, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
But it seems out of touch for the everyday investor. So is this something where you just need to have such huge amounts of funds under management to get involved, or are there opportunities all the way down, let's call it the food chain of sport?
Yeah, so I guess there's a big wide spectrum, like any business, of the size of capital that's being deployed, and obviously that is a landmark transaction which has occurred last week. But I think there's opportunity to participate in large deals, but also there's an opportunity to participate in kind of the smaller end of the market, I guess, in that what we call the lower mid-market category. So that's revenues of kind of sub 100, 200 million. And that's an opportunity we like more because we can, buy more meaningful positions in these businesses. Obviously, buying a team that's worth 10 billion Australian dollars, it's hard to actually have a meaningful position and have some influence in terms of the outcome. So we definitely want to be participating in businesses, investing in businesses where we can deploy enough capital that adds the value, but also where we've got a meaningful say and we're actively involved in that business. So Australia provides a great opportunity for investors to participate in a more realistic way, where we can deploy, smaller check sizes relative to the US.
And is this just investing in sports teams? Other areas we've seen recently, we've seen Atlassian go into Formula One. The examples are myriad of what's happening.
Yep.
But is it just investing in the sports team, or is it investing across the board? Because there's broadcast rights, there's management rights. So you can take it down to merchandising and stadiums and food and
Correct.
You name it.
It's very, very diverse opportunity to invest across the total platform. So is it participating at the team level? Is it participating at the league level? Is it what we call investing in the picks and shovels? That is technology businesses or services businesses that are allowing those teams to get access to better data, to make better decisions. So there's a range of different ways that you can participate across sports and entertainment. And our approach we're already investing in, all those avenues. So across the league, across team, but also in the picks and shovels as well, which is very important.
And when you say investing, you don't actually buy a team necessarily. You'd rather diversify across a whole range of assets. So as you would in funds management, you don't want to be too concentrated.
Yeah, I think 100%. I think you want to be diversified, and you want to deploy a platform approach to the way that you invest, and providing that diversification is really important to us as investors. I think, at some point we'll look at how we can become more diversified, but at the moment we're being very selective in the way that we invest, and there'll be quite specific opportunities, and then over time we'll look at how we can actually build a more diversified investor base and platform play to provide that diversification.
Ben, we talked about the sheer size of it. I mean, $10 billion for the Boston Celtics is probably out of our league.
Yes.
But give us some examples of where you've invested already, just to give a sample and a feel of what we're talking about.
Yeah, so the most recent example has been the Tasmanian Jack Jumpers. So that transaction was announced almost 4 weeks ago. That's a team that participates in the NBL, so the basketball competition in Australia. So we have purchased that business on the basis of the same attributes that we talked about earlier. That is, great management team, a lot of fantastic revenue drivers that we can actually help and help the business grow in the sports industry, right? So it ticks all those boxes. So that's I guess a really recent example of what we've been able to do. Investing a very unique asset. It's got a great fan base, passionate fan base, and that provides us with a really strong platform to be thinking about how else do we grow that business, but also leverage off the work that the NBL's doing with their growth expansions as well. So they've got a lot of great initiatives they're looking at in terms of the expansion of their league, so we can then piggyback on what they're doing.
Ben, the other aspect, I mean, you've mentioned the Jack Jumpers, and that's potentially owning the whole team. But what are the other revenue streams that come out of this that present themselves as opportunities?
Yeah, so for that specific opportunity, they've got a really diversified number of revenue streams. So they could be ticket sales, they could be media rights revenue, they could be sponsorship revenue, they could be revenue that's associated with the actual operations of the facilities, the sports stadiums themselves. So importantly, Jack Jumpers has revenue from all of those attributes, and that's something that really attracted us to the opportunity, was how diversified the revenue was, but also the number of revenue streams that were coming in addition to those that were already in place.
And you mentioned earlier the picks and shovels. I mean, by that you're talking about food or stadiums or clothing, those sorts of things, merchandising?
Yeah, so merchandising is certainly part of the revenue stream. It's relatively small, but the picks and shovels are about, a good example is a CRM system, for example. So at the moment, some teams have a sophisticated CRM system, but other teams don't. But there are companies out there that actually can deploy very sophisticated CRM systems to allow those teams and leagues to manage their customer base. So that's a good example of a technology business that's more picks and shovels, very specific to the sports industry, and can provide a whole lot of capability to those teams and leagues to unlock the and naturally and organically drive revenue growth.
Any other examples? Or I mean, that's a specific sporting team where you've got a percentage of the team?
Yeah, we can. The way that deal's structured is we can buy up to 100% of that business over a 2-year period. So that is a very specific, what they call change of control transaction. So we're actually becoming, up to 100% owners. The first tranche of that transaction, we become majority on financial close. So that's one type of transaction we'll do, but others will look at deploying growth capital So there's multiple ways that we can participate, not always going to be 100% control or 51% control. Could be unlocking capital to execute on a key revenue driver. So again, the same way we think about any of our portfolio companies is the same way we think about the sporting businesses that we're investing in. But we've looked at opportunities across multiple leagues in Australia. We've looked at the leagues themselves. We've looked at some international opportunities as well. So I guess there's a great set of opportunities that we're being exposed to and seeing amazing opportunities that are ticking all those boxes that we want to invest in.
And you're using your traditional values of management and investing, lending money to businesses, and just applying this across a specific industry, however large it is, but a specific industry sector.
Yeah, correct. So we're very much macro driven, the way we think about equity and credit. So we have the capability to invest across both of those. But we're very much focused on backing businesses in the right macro setting. So strong industry tailwinds. So we're doing financial services, healthcare, defense industry, energy transition. So those industries that have got very strong structural tailwinds behind them. So sports, we've been doing a lot of work in sports in the last kind of 12 to 18 months, and we've now brought that in as a new category to participate in. And we can either do that through the existing mandates we have in credit and growth equity, or in some cases we'll look at establishing specific funding vehicles to go after those opportunities.
Ben, it's fascinating to talk to you about this. As I said right at the start, I hadn't realised how huge the business of sport is, but it obviously is absolutely mammoth, and I wish you all the best in it.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.